right, and now we're back for Pick Bands into Game 4 of the evening. Wow, like talk about all these super duper exciting games, kind of going back and forth. Dwayne will be back with us in just a moment, but we're kicking things off with the GP Brand Band on blue team and Nasus Ash Band coming from red team. As we talked about before, we're probably not going to see Ash played for quite a little while here, and as long as Zabumafu is on the opposing team, I think the Nasus ban will continue to kind of come down here, kind of lock this down. Yone ban here to go ahead and stop Down Bad from playing one of his pocket picks. Go ahead and looking forward to see what this third ban is going to be. Super interesting. Lilia, that's a pretty common one. The Tark ban might come down, but maybe the last few games haven't been super scary for Tark. So we'll go ahead and find out what kind of tone red team wants to set off the bat here. And it is a Tark ban. Alright, so here we go. Starting off the picks. See what Illuminati shows us now. Key decision having been made. Maokai. This particular case, as we were talking about before, Maokai is probably not going to be here for Illuminati, most likely for Bloody Sunday, but a very, very solid pick off the get-go. Down Bad, looking to make a decision here. Yasuo.
I'm back, baby.
Hey, we are currently in pick bands. They've already finished their first set of bands, and they're on their first picks with a Maokai for blue team and a Yasuo from Down Bad Minor.
Sweet. Oh man, sorry I missed the first few. I had to get something to snack on. This casting work is exhausting.
For sure,
And whenever I
really
eat,
exciting.
I get my food from one of our sponsors. Writing isn't easy, and that's why Grammarly can help. Eating is also not easy, and so yeah, thank you Grammarly for this delicious word salad.
You missed your chance there. You got to go and do the when you're casting, eating food, like you really don't have that much time to prepare food. That's why I use HelloFresh.
Postmates.
Yeah, but hey, speaking of feeding, you have Belveth getting picked by Cashfernal. That's not a common pick here. It's gonna go ahead.
Nice segue.
Gonna go ahead and be able to eat some bodies on the Howling Abyss. This is gonna be pretty interesting. I'm not actually super familiar with Belveth's kit. What kind of role does she have on a team?
Belveth is definitely a strange champion. You can consider her to be like sort of a melee fighter, and her build paths can go in pretty different directions. One really good example of a Belveth that you can see in pro play is actually Elyoya on Mad Lions. He picked Belveth multiple times today, I think twice, and both of them were wins to take the series victory against Saigon Buffalo. It was honestly a super clutch pick, and it was, spoiler alert, I guess, the pick that turned the series. He popped off on Belveth. He built her in two different ways. He went the tank hex item that speeds you up. I can't ever remember the name. And he also went fighter builds, rushing Bork often as well. Just did a ton of damage and absolutely took over team fights. I think she's a really strange champion though. I don't really see how she fits into the customs meta, so I'm excited to see what Catch tries to do with it.
Yeah, and something else that seems kind of interesting here as well is we have Victor picked, and I don't know who's going to play Victor on blue team.
Yeah, honestly, it just feels like a power pick. I don't think Illuminati, Cash, or Bloody Sunday pick Victor. That's my hot take. I've never seen any of them play Victor, at least as far as I know. So maybe Zabumafu? Question mark?
Possibly, and a Malphite band to toss up. Both heroes that kind of like have big ways to initiate fights here from an AP perspective. So I think they blue team knows what they're trying to avoid and ban out here. It's also pretty funny. You really have to keep an eye on this because this time it's not Kale on Zabumafu, it's Toxin's team with the Kale.
Oh yeah, that was snatched away. I mean, you can see Two Toxins trying to make a statement here. I will play your solo queue main better than you.
Oh man. Oh, and this
Is he gonna get away with it?
this is a rare treat of Udyr. When was I think this might be one of the first, if not second, Udyr games. This is not a hero we see come out here.
Yeah, and Udyr's an interesting champion. He's been around since the beginning of the game. He was recently reworked, almost entirely different now. I don't actually really know how he'll fit into the Cousins meta either. He's also a melee fighter. I think he does a lot less damage than Bel'Veth, but he generally tends to build more tanky. And his ult is just like a wild ride now with his new kit. So I don't really know what the plan is with Udyr this game. I think he's just trying to provide a good front line for his Kayle. But really, Red Team's build is kind of all over the place.
We also see Ziggs. Ziggs is not a hero champion that we've seen come out in a very, very long time. I know there was extensive discussion from Ziggs in between games about whether or not the nerfs from Ziggs affect the champion's ability to perform on the Howling Abyss.
Also, some strange team comp from the blue team as well. That's what, 4 AP champions? Maokai, Mordekaiser, Ziggs, and Victor all do only magic damage. And then a Bel'Veth who will provide the physical damage. No AD carry, or at least no ranged marksman. So they're really looking to poke out with Victor and Ziggs. And then in the team fights, they don't have an AD carry to back them up. You can make team fighting comps with all melee champs work, or with no marksman work, but it requires some interesting pick ban decisions. Typically, you see it with like a death ball or something, with a Seraphine in the back. So I don't understand what they were doing with their draft here. This makes absolutely no sense to me. I guess we'll have to see how it plays out. But if I were on red team right now, if I were playing Udyr or Yasuo or Thresh, I'd be stacking some MR. I'd be ready for this.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be weird. Like they were saying before, the Bel'Veth here is one that we haven't seen too frequently.
Absolutely. And one thing I actually noticed from both of these last two games, it's very interesting. Luminati has been early picking Maokai for his team and then trading it to a teammate. And I think that's really sick. And it's really great for one subtle reason, which is I think Luminati has one of the smallest, if not the smallest champ pool in our customs group. And many of his champs are really good situational picks, but aren't necessarily good early picks or picks in flexible picks in any comp. So what he's doing here is he's early picking a really strong, powerful, flexible pick for his team that hopefully he can play. I hope he's picking up Maokai. I think that would be a really great pickup for him. But he's trading it to his team and then getting his champion later when it's a lot safer to pick one of his champs. I think that's super clutch. Obviously in this game, I don't think it was a good move because I still think Mordekaiser is pretty bad here, especially when you have 2 AP champs already. But in general, I really like that new draft strategy from Luminati, and I hope he keeps it up. Yeah, that can be good. But Mordekaiser likes to ult people that he wins 1v1s with, and the later the game goes, the less he wins those 1v1s against Yasuo and Kayle. I think his best ult target for a lot of the game will be Orianna, probably, just because Orianna is really bad at 1v1s, and she doesn't have the mobility to get away from Mordekaiser. So I hope to see him ulting Orianna primarily. Ulting Thresh and Kale also, or Thresh and Udyr also isn't too bad. But I actually think I don't know. With the new Udyr build, I don't know if he wins the 1v1 versus Udyr. I actually have no idea. But yeah, I hope he ults Orianna. I hope he's able to get on her. But in general, I think it's a bad pick because they already are stacked with magic damage. They have 2 primary magic damage threats and a Maokai, and no AD carry. If there was a Tristana or something in that place, like some sort of self-sufficient backline AD carry that could survive like getting dove by an Udyr or something, I think that would be way better.
And now the game has begun. I will say here that I think I just did a poll of the audience, and the audience here thinks that blue team has the advantage, and it is 4-1 favoring blue team here. Blue team here being the team with Mordekaiser, Bel'Veth, Maokai, Ziggs, and Viktor. So, well, I know that the caster desk seems to think one thing, but the audience thinks the other. So we'll go ahead and see who ends up taking this game.
Yeah, this is the worst part about Twitch. Viewers are dumb as hell. But in all seriousness, like, I definitely like red team's comp more, but it's really hard for me to tell who's actually gonna win. What a strange team comp.
Good health off the get-go. Big damage.
Kicking it off with a classic drop it like his box Thresh performance. And who does first blood go to? 2 Toxin on the Kale. Bro, you can't give Kale a kill at 1 minute in the game.
Dang, everyone there was pretty low. But I will say there were so many shields popping off from red team to go ahead and kind of protect from the Mordekaiser damage, because I think they were staying a Mordekaiser sphere for the entire time. And so you could see those shields ticking down, but that was shields ticking down, not health.
Yeah, and honestly, if red team is winning fights now, look at their scaling. They have freaking Orianna, Yasuo, and Kale all on the same team. Their damage is going to go through the roof. Sure, they don't have a marksman either, but like, they're really going to pop off with oh, and actually, I might have spoken too soon. We actually don't know what Kale is going to be building. So she might actually go AD Kale.
I will give, the blue team credit here, that was just first blood. It was a catch. Things kind of went poorly, We've seen, just because you get first blood and the catch doesn't spell doom and gloom for the rest of the game here. We'll go and see here. But, who am I talking about? This is drop it like his box Thresh. The hook's still coming along. Yasuo going in deep here. Good hook. Good grab by the Mordekaiser.
Why are we still giving drop it like his box Thresh? Why are we giving it to him?
A very, very sustained fight. And another hook to keep the fight going here.
No, the flash hook! To confirm the kill on the Zabumafu. They're absolutely cleaning up. Twitch chat! Are you still there? What's going on, bro? What's going on?
I wonder if part of it also is the lack of familiarity with the Udyr's kit from some of the team members who just haven't played against Udyr as much. Oh, and
you better believe I have absolutely no idea what he's doing. Daban Miner goes down, but honestly, it's not a huge loss. It's still a level 5 Yasuo. Like, he probably wants to reset before he gets his first ult off. It's interesting, he's actually rushing boots first. I don't really understand why you would do that. Early crit on Yasuo seems to be really clutch. I guess he wants to kite as much as possible since he's fighting against 3 melee rage champs, but honestly, if he's fighting at all, like, he's going to be in there, he's going to be CC'd. You just want burst. Rush the crit. Get your ult off. Get the wombo combo with Orianna.
We do have Zabumafu here on Viktor. We're kind of talking before. A new pick for him, kind of flexing his large champ pool. Look, another searching for those hooks from Thresh.
You know what they say? Lots of people can play Viktor, but not everybody plays him right. You know, you gotta have that. You gotta have that touch.
Oh, and then Naga combo.
Orianna kicks it off. Oh, what's going on, Dugeek?
It's a big team fight here right now. With red team constantly landing their knockups to go ahead and give Yasuo the ability to go in. Thresh keeps the fight going by getting some additional hooks. And despite blue team's best efforts to try to end the fight, red team just does not relent and wants to keep on going. Again,
damn, they just dissolved it. 3 for 0.
Thresh doing a pretty good job here, taking your tower and manages to live. Maybe could have died there, but we'll go ahead and see. I think Thresh might have expected to die there.
That was a clutch shield from Thresh. He kept himself alive on purpose. He threw the lantern right as the last tower shot hit him.
I
And
want,
honestly, like, yo, how are we still giving Drop It Like It's Box fucking Thresh these days? Like, how is this happening? He's the man pops off. The man just pops off.
it's definitely something in the last fight too. I was in the middle of commenting how they just hit 6. I think red team might have been cognizant of the 6 hit, and knew that like once they hit it, they had to try to take advantage of it before blue team realizes and coordinates that they're on 6. The wombo on red team being very strong if he land the Ori knock up for the Yasuo to follow up. Ooh, close.
And it looks like Thresh is rushing Warmogs this game. I think we've seen some pretty sussy Warmogs rushes this tonight so far. But if you're against a Ziggs and a Victor, yeah, I think that's a good move. I think the only difference I would have done is a rushed magic resist. But here we go. That one dude is in the fight. He is tanky as hell. And who did Illuminati ult away? It looks like he ulted away Down Bad Miner. So Down Bad Miner's running away on the Yasuo. He will win that 1v1 later in the game, but right now Mordekaiser has a huge advantage on Yasuo. He's able to chase him down, but Down Bad Miner's just got too much mobility. Escapes most of the damage, only goes to half, and nothing really happens.
Three Hawks was able to get out of that. It definitely looked pretty dire off from the get-go. But the Mordekaiser ult basically undid that fight. Oh, and here they go again. Only catching 1, but that might be enough here. Trading
Ooh,
1 for 1.
1 for 1. That's probably worth it. Mordekaiser's stronger than Yasuo right now. Yeah, you go for those. That's totally fine.
That was 2 ults down that they had to use that though. They had to use the Yasuo ult and the Ori ult. The cooldowns are on the shorter side, so it's not the end of the world, but oh, what a great hook.
Again with the Drop It Like It's Box hooks. Unfortunately, Victor also gets an ult on a 2 Toxin in the back. Kayle gets stunned and hit with a Victor ult, but nothing else is following up, so she's perfectly fine. Cash dashes in with the Bel'Veth trying to finish her off, but she's 2 Toxins looking good right now. Absolutely perfectly safe.
That's going to hurt much more later, but right now, just the damage isn't quite there. Oh, and everyone's so low. Mordekaiser's smelling blood here. Just let that sphere go and chunk him.
Absolutely. Another hook though. He's having trouble finishing off 2 Toxins. He's gonna get his Q off. No, 2 Toxins still alive. It's a tragedy. You gotta feel for Illuminati there.
Oh, sure. The kiting there is like definitely shows the familiarity with the range on the hero. So we're getting some resets here from the red team. Having now taken
and this
the tower.
is the first time we've seen Cash for Null get multiple bodies at the same time. So that's gonna stack up his passive a little bit. Finally, he's at least given some crumbs. Down Bad Miner with the BM absolutely taunts his opponent, lets him get hit by the laser, just stands there and taunts. I mean,
look at that.
Oh, that is just rude. You love to see it.
It was early game. These are some of the earlier deaths for most of the red team. So that reset there was pretty important, coming back with some items. We now have Ori with Mythic and Udyr with Mythic now as well.
And look at the state of the game right now. Like, Bel'Veth has 0 kills, basically. She's got 1 kill and has been having a really hard time with these fights. And the rest of the blue team is magic. If I were Thresh... Oh, and we got it engaged. Another combo for Yasuo, but he goes immediately. Red team's still popping off, though. They've got blue team surrounded. The fight is in shambles. It's all over the place. Cash goes down in the back line, and it's now 3v3. 2 Toxin flashes forward on Kayle, gets a quick kill. Illuminati's in the zone with Drop It Like It's Box. He's just running away from him, and he comes out of the zone right about now and gets 1v3. 2 Toxins able to take him down, it looks like.
Yep.
Give the kill to Kayle. Oh, they did it. Great job. Another flash hook attempt by Drop It Like It's Box, but Bloody Sunday just barely managed to eke away. Wow, that was close. That was pretty close. What did you think of that fight, Duke Geek?
It was like saying
was that as close as it felt?
It felt very chaotic. As you're saying off the get-go, like the initiation there was super bold. I actually thought at the very beginning the Thresh was going to initiate, but no, we're consistently seeing like this really well play off of the Ori and the Yasuo combo there to land massive damage. And then there's a lot of franticness as the blue team is trying to get in the back of the Kayle, but then kind of leaves their backline up for the people who just went in, which is a Yasuo, which is chunking damage. It's a lot to keep track of. Super frantic. With currently red team barely eking out ahead of these.
For sure. And there's another Orianna ult to try to get Cash off, but Cash uses his E and actually blocks a lot of damage to the Bel'Veth. He's able to grab another body in the back. I'm surprised he's not grabbing that. Must be a spectator bug.
Aggressive.
That was a little bit ape from Drop It Like It's Box.
But hey, it actually pays off. In this case, the rest team was able to collapse on it very, very quickly. And
I don't know what to say. Even when it looks bad, it looks good.
all these
Oh,
super aggressive
knockup from
flashes
Down Bad Miner.
with the mastery emote.
I don't think he feels bad about that one. But you know, I'm surprised. Like,
Oh,
I
that
do like the
chunk.
Warmogs from Thresh, but one change I would have made is I would have rushed a Magic Resist item first. Again, 4 magic damage champs on the blue team, and both Udyr and Thresh rushed non-Magic Resist items first. Udyr rushed his Mythic, which just provides some MR, but like honestly, if he started with Fawn, if both of them started with Fawn, I think they'd be in a way happier place. Regardless, there's still they have a decent lead. That's 2K at 10 minutes, which is pretty good for customs.
You know, I think you said like again, if Drop Like Xbox would have got a Magic Resist item, it maybe would have been better. I actually am quite fond of the Warmogs here. Like you're saying before, there is poke on the blue team, but at the same time, fitting Drop Like Xbox style, you notice how many times he's going up for these aggressive hooks.
Absolutely, he's in there.
And that's what's giving him the comfort. You know, that psychological effect of having the Warmogs, knowing that I can go back and heal, is giving him the courage he needs to go in. And I think that's something to be said. So I actually am very okay with that Warmogs build, especially given the amount of poke from the blue team.
That's a noob trap though, because if you're going in, if you're like committing yourself to fights, Warmogs is useless to you. You should die. You should go in and fight till you die. So I think if he had gotten Magic Resist, he would literally have more comfort than he would have with Warmogs. I'm glad he went Warmogs. I think it should have been a second item. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Also, what's kind of weird too is that the Thresh doesn't actually have to go in. The Thresh is going up for these catches, and like if he catches it, he's starting it. But he's not getting the catch every single time, right? Like right now, we just saw him miss a catch. He's Warmoxing back up. All right, now it's time to try again. Now he's full, and there we go. He got it, right? And the Yasuo to delete the Victor, huge source of damage here. Fight immediately kicks off.
Absolutely
Another big
erased.
Oriole in the back too, and there's Kale is just like a turret back there, ripping in the enemy team.
Illuminati ulted down bad again. He's only ulting the Yasuo, and he's still winning the 1v1s, but notice how much closer it was this time. Yasuo's getting to a point where he can actually duel. Yasuo's the only person on this team who rushed Magic Resist. He got a Wit's End first. That is very atypical for Yasuo, but since he's getting ulted by Mordekaiser in every single fight, like, absolutely the right call.
Silly game question here. Does Bel'Veth scale? Like in this case, as Bel'Veth's passive kicks in, will that become like a big threat like Jinx would be later in the game? Because, you know, we saw, look at Red Team. Red Team has Kale.
Yes, Bel'Veth's damage scales a lot. The problem is she doesn't have the safety of Jinx or anything like that. So it's kind of like comparing apples and oranges. She's much more like a Yasuo, to be honest. She scales very similar to him in that they both have a lot of mobility, and they both have a ton of physical damage close up. And now, Down Bad Miner is starting to go towards his Mythic. It looks like it's going to be an Immortal Shield Bow. And there it is, that's the Immortal Shield Bow. So he's finally got some crit. I think when he's got his IE third item, the game will be over. Hot take! Fawn's already out for Udyr as well. And Drop Like His Box went into Frostfire Gauntlet. Still doesn't have his MR item. Still doesn't have his MR item. Come on, Drop It Like His Box! Look at the enemy team!
You know, we say that like currently, it feels like Red Team has just been killing these fights. But from an objective-based perspective, we're all looking at, oh, and we have another big fight breaking out here.
Illuminati gets absolutely dumpstered. He walked up way too far and gets caught.
Oh, big knock up
Red
there.
Team is going to follow up. Another knock-up. Down Bad Miner gets the ult onto, I couldn't even say, I think it was Cash.
Definitely.
And they get 2 more kills.
And I believe that's going to have to be game here at this rate.
Oh my gosh. Kale is pumping out damage too. 2 items on Kale. 11 and 2 on Kale. 11 and 2. We thought that the Kale performance last game was good.
What a game. Super duper clutch moves as a combo from the Yasuo, taking advantage of any knockup. You have the Thresh Flay, you have the Ori ult, and all these instances, those end up catching high priority target. I saw it was Victor a few times, we saw maybe Bel'Veth near the end. As long as you take out one of the squishies that can output damage, that'll turn the fight.
And I really enjoyed seeing 2 teams without AD carries fight off against each other. I thought it was super fun. I love to see stuff like that come out, but blue team really entered the difference there with the last pick Mordekaiser. Like, that was just way too much magic damage, and it made it way too easy for red team to itemize. Great games. See you next week, people.